same place, same radio stations. Thank you very much for listening. For me, Enoch, until next week, is au revoir. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to 91.0, the voice of Oraniamund. We are currently looking at topic for today, the disinformation on the clouds, Africa's rollout that is happening. We do have Mr. Links on the line. Mr. Links, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Can you please quickly introduce yourself to those that haven't been listening to your 91.0?
Well, my name is Frederico Links. I'm the editor of Namibia Fact Check, which is a fact-checking service project of the Institute for Public Policy Research based in Windhoek. Applications such as WhatsApp, and try and debunk these. And most of what we've done over the last year has been writing and reporting and debunking around COVID-19, and of late we've started doing sort of work around COVID-19 vaccines, because we see a lot of disinformation around the COVID-19 vaccines now.
Well, Mr. Links, I just quickly want to know, our conversation today is a hesitancy disinformation cloud of the Africa's vaccine rollout. So my question to you is, what is the huge false or disinformation of the rollout that you have seen so far?
So I mean, what we've seen is all sorts of falsehoods around the vaccines. That the vaccines are meant for population control, that they are, a way to implant chips in people, that they are going to give people COVID-19, that people are. This is a way for wealthy people like Bill Gates, for instance, who has featured in a lot of the disinformation to make money. So there's really a whole sort of basket full of conspiracy theories and vaccine-related hoaxes and falsehoods that have been spreading. I mean, from the beginning, basically from January 2020, but it's become a lot more pronounced over the last few months since the world has started vaccinating against COVID-19 in late 2020, November, December 2020. So now, sort of the vaccine disinformation has become problematic on social media, especially, and on WhatsApp very specifically. So I mean, it just is a mess. I think most people's groups when it comes to COVID-19 vaccines.
Yes, I just quickly want to know the length of the vaccine. If you do have any knowledge of that, what is the length of the vaccine, and how many jabs does one person need during the rollout?
All right, so I today got I was vaccinated this morning. I was given a choice between the Covishield, the AstraZeneca vaccine, and the Sinopharm, the Chinese vaccine. I chose the Sinopharm vaccine, and I have to get 3 jabs. So my first jab was today. So my next one will be on 10th of May, and then depending on that, the next one will be after that. So it's for Sinopharm, it's 3 jabs. For AstraZeneca, it's 2 jabs.
Well, is there any side effects so far, seeing that you have received your first jab today?
Well, so they say within the first 4 days, 3-4 days, if there are any side effects, they will emerge over the next 3 to 4 days. But they do monitor. I mean, we had to sit there for half an hour after receiving the first jab. So they do monitor us for half an hour to see if anything happens. And then they let us go, and then they tell us, look, you monitor your situation for the next 3 to 4 days, and then if there's anything in that period, then go see your doctor or come back to the state. So there is that possibility. Now there have been people who have experienced side effects since the vaccine rollout has started in Namibia, as I understand. I don't know the numbers. This was I was informed of this while I was while we were. I was choosing which one of the vaccines was to get. So some people have experienced side effects, but this is very rare.
Yeah.
It's not that everybody. However, I mean, most people do experience things but these aren't really serious side effects. We're talking about serious side effects. Sort of after you've received the vaccine, you might have a headache for a few hours or so. Your arm where you received the jab might be itchy or actually be sore for a while. You might be nauseous for a while.
Yeah.
Things like these. I mean, but these are sort of standard, normal reactions to all vaccines, not just the COVID vaccines, but to all vaccines. So this sort of thing is normal. But what we're talking about is sort of serious side effects where you have serious health complications. So that's where that 3-day, 4-day period comes in.
It's according to some of the news outlets that the news. I just wanted to quickly know what affected the disinformation that former President Donald Trump actually did when he said the certain speech that he did.
Look, I mean, the former U.S. president has had a very on U.S. On the COVID-19 response in the U.S., which I mean, the whole world has been able to see, has just been a total fiasco. And I mean, and a large part of this has been the political response under Donald Trump. And this has really, damaged the U.S. response to COVID-19.
Yeah.
And this is evident to anybody. So, I mean, they are trying to draw that back. And I mean, Donald Trump has been sort of proven to be a vector, sort of a central point, and a major spreader of disinformation, especially on Twitter, around COVID-19. That's why Twitter actually eventually took the step to ban him earlier this year.
Yeah.
From its platform, and various others then followed. So I mean that has been very damaging. I mean, and here in Southern Africa, I mean, the former Tanzanian president who died of COVID-19, or allegedly died of COVID-19 a few weeks ago, Magufuli.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the similar mold. He denied the spread of COVID-19 in his country, denied that COVID-19 was even there. And I mean, the reports we've been hearing, and that the World Health Organization has been, sort of begging the Tanzanian authorities to open up and deal with the situation. So we've had sort of a similar sort of situation here in Southern Africa, around denialism of COVID-19 and disinformation around vaccines that have been spread by senior authority or political leaders in countries.
Mr. Lungs, my question to you is what treatments should not be used that have not yet been proven to be COVID-19 treatments?
Well, I mean, I think people should go and to the World Health Organization and various other credible sources, such as the Johns Hopkins University's web pages and so on. They give a rundown of the sort of treatments that have shown promise and treatments that have sort of fallen by the wayside, that have proven not to be effective against COVID-19. As it stands, there is no cure for COVID-19. There are various treatments in being trialed in various parts of the world. But I think, I mean, I don't want to, say something which might not be true, but I think it would be best if there are online sources where you can get information about the various types of treatments that are available out there, that have been sort of trialed or are being trialed. What has been said so far? I mean, things like you see people spreading around things like you need to drink vitamin supplements and lead or zinc supplements and things like these. These things have not been proven to have an effect. Have been proven not to be effective. So that sort of thing, herbal drinks, herbal teas, herbal concoctions, steaming and the like, steaming herbs or herbal teas and those sorts of things. Those things have not been proven to be effective.
Yeah.
They are, sort of medical, chemical-based. How do I say this now? There are treatments being experimented with at the moment, and once these things are, and this takes time, but a lot of these sort of social media treatments are things people say, this is ready. If you take this, you'll be fine, and this is, this could have real impact.
Yeah.
I mean, these things could be dangerous in the first place. Taking these things, if you're sick or something, could be dangerous. And secondly, you're not. It doesn't have an effect on when you're infected on COVID-19 and so on. So then you think you are protected, and then you spread the virus to others. So I would really encourage people to go and find out. And this information is available online on the websites and the web pages of organizations such as the World Health Organization and the Johns Hopkins University and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. You can find this information and go and look at it. In fact, bookmark these pages so that every time something comes up that some information comes up, that you have somewhere where you can immediately go and verify if what you just came across is actually true or not, so that you can keep up to date on what the developments are on this COVID-19 landscape.
After all the questions and the topics, after all what people have been saying about the disinformation of the Africa's rollout, what is your word to the community on getting the jab?
Well, I mean, I'd say if you fall within, I mean, I don't fall within any of the priority areas, but they said, look, it's fine. But if you fall within the priority areas, health workers, people with comorbidities, frontline workers other than healthcare workers, so people in the transport and the mining, and Oranje is a mining town, in the transport and the mining, and other sort of service industries and the like. I'd encourage you to get it once it becomes available. At the moment, it's only Windhoek and it's only Khomas and Orongo regions. But once it becomes available nationally, if you fall within those priority areas, please do go and get yourself vaccinated. And of course, I mean, I went there this morning and said, look, I don't fall in these priority areas, but I would like to be vaccinated. And they said, look, that's fine. Members of the public are welcome, and I do fall in a priority area actually as a journalist and as a researcher, because I also work with people. So they said it's fine. So I mean, it seems like from my experience, they're not sort of hesitant. They're not really going to show people away. But I mean, we have a limited stock of vaccine available.
Yes.
We only have 130,000 doses, 30,000 Covishield doses, and 100,000 Sinopharm doses. So I'm speaking under correction, please. I think it's 130,000. So I mean, once we have more vaccines available and the rollout goes nationally, I think, if nobody's forcing you to do this, nobody's forcing you to get the vaccine. The government is not. This is not an obligation that you have to.
Yeah.
But I would encourage people to get the vaccine. We want to put COVID-19 behind us. We want to get back to some sort of normalcy. So if this is what it takes, please do consider taking the vaccine.
Mr. Links, I would like to thank you so much for the Hesitancy Disinformation Cloud against the COVID-19 rollout.
Thank you very much, Duncan. You too, and your listeners as well.
Well, that was Mr. Links with his Hesitancy Disinformation Cloud. Please do stay tuned to the rest of the Open program. Goodbye.